Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Office of Environmental Health and Safety and AU Women Empowerment Council, I would like to thank each one of you who decided to join us today for this very important session that brings a group of resourceful and empowered women for a roundtable discussion about critical items and the critical topics that are of interest to everyone and not only women, such as climate change, women empowerment, health, gender equality, and emergency management. Women in science are agents for change, and empowering more girls to enroll in the field of sciences and technology is the key to advancing sustainable development goals and environmental integrity. This group of women that you see in front of you are the utmost definition of diversity and inclusion, with representation from a very large group of countries. I would like to thank these remarkable women for joining us today as speakers, starting with Dr. Diana Francis, who is an atmospheric scientist, and she is also the head of Environmental and Geophysical Sciences Lab at Khalifa University. Dr. Nahla Al-Qasimi, Dean of Student Services and Chair of AU Women Empowerment Council. Dr. Maria Opulencia, I hope I said your name right, Assistant Professor at College of Business Administration. Dr. Fidda Jassas, medical doctor and medical services manager. Dr. Anastasia Spaska, associate professor, College of Medicine. Dr. Hiba Abu Khusa, adjunct assistant professor, College of Humanities and Sciences. Dr. Nisha Kumari, lecturer, College of Medicine. And Ms. Ala Alamiri, lecturer, College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Nahla Al-Qasimi, who is a really powerful leader, a really powerful woman leader that I aspire and look up to her. Dr. Nahla is the Dean of Students at Ajman University. She is also the chair of AU Women Empowerment Council, and she also founded that council. I am also a proud member of this council. She is the Vice President of Board of Governance of UAE Society of Engineers. She is the Chair of Women Engineers Committee at Society of Engineers. She is a member of Board of Governance of Rashid bin Hamid Award for Culture and Science. Dr. Nahla has a PhD in Architectural Engineering. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Nahla.
Welcome. Thank you very much, Maya, for the nice introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to witness this great group of women assembled together on the occasion of the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, in a session organized by the Office of the Environmental Health and Safety and AU Women Empowerment Council at Ajman University. The day focuses on the reality that science and gender equality are both vital for the achievement of internationally agreed development goals, including the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. In order to achieve gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls, the UN General Assembly adopted a resolution declaring 11 February as the International Day of Women and Girls in Science. Tackling some of the greatest challenges of the Agenda for Sustainable Development, from improving health to combating climate change, will rely on empowering all talents. That means getting more women working in these fields. Diversity in research expands the pool of talented researchers, bringing in fresh perspective, talent and creativity. This day is a reminder that women and girls play a critical role in science and technology communities, and that their participation should be strengthened. These strong women who are here with us today are willing to share their life journey and give valuable multidisciplinary lessons on women empowerment, climate change, green environment, health, medicine, diversity, inclusion, quality education, and emergency preparedness. The world continues to struggle with challenges such as COVID-19 and climate crisis. Therefore, the full and equal participation and leadership of women and girls in STEM fields is crucial to a more sustainable future. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest of honor for this session, Dr. Diana Francis, head of the Environmental and Geophysical Sciences Lab at Khalifa University. Dr. Diana is an internationally renowned atmospheric scientist with a postgraduate diploma in radiation protection, 2 master's degree in physics, and a PhD in atmospheric sciences from Sorbonne University, Paris, France. Her achievements has made a considerable contribution to advancing sciences or scientific knowledge in a wide range of topics such as aerosol interaction with climate, tropical meteorology, polar meteorology, climate change and polar ice, air pollution and air quality. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Diana Francis. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nahla. I'm really very honored to be with you here, and I really hope to inspire a lot of women and girls to follow this road. So as already Maya and Dr. Nahla introduced me, I'm an atmospheric scientist. I did my PhD in Paris, Sorbonne University. And it was like realizing a dream for me, because since I was a little girl, I used to just spend hours looking at the skies, trying to suggest to myself what the clouds will be like in 5 minutes, what the form will be, what the color will be. Was really very fascinating field for me, and was very curious how all these things happen and what are the laws that govern these. So after a bachelor in physics, master in physics as well, and I prepared my PhD, and then I worked in Europe for more than 8 years. I worked in research. Also, I worked on the policy making side with the European Commission to advise on air quality and air pollution in big cities. And after that, I was honored to join New York University here in Abu Dhabi to lead a team to start working on polar science, especially now under climate change, because these are the regions that are impacted most, and we can see the changes very fast happening in polar regions. And so after 4 years at NYU, I joined Khalifa University to lead the Environmental and Geophysical Sciences Lab, where I work with a group of 8 researchers and engineers on several topics related to environmental sciences and climate science, both in the region, but also in polar regions and globally. Yeah, so this is a brief story of my life, and I'm happy to share with you more experiences and insights following the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Diana. I am looking forward to the discussion later on. Let me introduce our moderators for today. Our moderators are students from Ajman University who are bright in their field. Let me start with Karen Saad. Karen, please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today and to communicate on such an important topic. I'm Karen Saad, MC speaker and student at the College of Business, and also the winner of the Sharjah Entrepreneurship Festival. Very happy to be here.
Thank you, Karen. Moving on to our next bright moderator, Isra Al-Amin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Isra Mohammed. I'm a third-year medical student at Ajman University. I'm so thrilled to be part of this and especially leading this very important movement of women empowerment. And thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you very much, Isra. And moving on to Nadia Raed. The floor is yours.
Hello everyone, my name is Nadia Raed. I am third year pharmacy student and I'm so happy to be included in this webinar.
Thank you very much, Nadia. And myself also, I will be helping in moderating. So let's begin our interesting session. And we will start with Dr. Diana. Isra, the floor is yours.
So to kick off this session, I'm going to start with Dr. Diana. So Dr. Diana, you told us that you're an atmospheric scientist, right? So can you explain to us what does being a female atmospheric scientist mean to you?
As everything in life, there are advantages and disadvantages. Being atmospheric scientist has a lot of advantages because we are a few women in the field. So we are always considered that, we broke through something that was not really open for women. The other difficulties that we can face being atmospheric science is related to experimental campaigns, meaning when we go to the field, for example, to conduct campaigns, take measurements. In the field of atmospheric science, this requires to be, for example, away from home for several weeks. Even the environment there in the field is not adapted for women, from shower to toilet to sleep, all these details for the daily life. Women have to overcome and adjust and adapt in order to stay. Otherwise, the train will pass and we will miss the train. So, but this is at the same time is rewarding because once it is done and once the achievements are here, it's rewarding for the women themselves, but also for the entire society.
Thank you.
Dr. Diana, you've spoken in the beginning about your childhood and how you were so inspired with the universe and with the skies and stars. But were there other reasons that pushed you to pursue your studies in atmospheric sciences? And were you always passionate about the environment?
Indeed, I've been always passionate about this field. But at a certain point, I had to choose between or medical or environment. And at the end, I went to the environment side because of this passion that was growing with me since I was little. Yes. And I encourage every girl to follow whatever it feels inside her, that this will be the thing that she can make impactful things later on in her life. Never give up, and keep dreaming and realizing their dreams.
Thank you. Moving on to Ms. Maya.
Dr. Dania, can you tell us about your recent achievement or career achievements?
Yes. I think I can talk about two main achievements. First of them is building this center at Khalifa University to deal with climate change and environmental sciences here in the region, especially in the UAE. This is the only center for now that investigates these important issues and relevant for all the, the hot topics that now every government has to deal with. And in the past, I think this region used to rely on research that is being performed outside the region, meaning in any other research center in US, in Europe, or any other country. And being here and seeing things in our with our eyes is different than just having an external look at things. This is the first achievement. And I think the other one is really a scientific one related to one major discovery that scientists were intrigued about it for maybe more than 40 years. And in 2019, I was able to explain what was happening in Antarctica, for example. So now we are in the Southern Pole, we are in winter. And in some years, there is a sea that appears in the middle of the ice without anyone knowing why this is happening. And I think explaining this was really a great achievement on the science side. Yes.
That's very interesting, Dr. Diana.
Thank you.
Well, I have one question for you. How can university students be part of climate action and contribute to green economy?
This is a very important question, I think. The issue with climate change, we know that it can't be solved, only by government taking some measures or policies, or even all the governments around the world. If they take policies and the individuals are not following these or taking individual initiatives, this can't work. So students can, at their level, actually have a big impact on many issues that will help us to deal with climate change, starting, for example, from reducing waste, using, whatever is not emitting pollution, cycling, or whenever we can, avoiding cars. So I believe that really small actions put all together can give a bigger impact on the climate issue. And this has to start from students, because themselves they can after talk about it to their families, to their larger families, and that's how things can get growing, and the good initiatives can grow and have more impact.
Definitely, that's very true. Climate action is the responsibility of each and every one of us, whether students, whether staff, whether faculty. It starts from you. Do not say, I am waiting for the other to take action.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, Dr. Diana.
Most welcome.
Moving on to our next speaker, Dr. Fidda. Can you please describe yourself in 20 seconds only?
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Hi, everybody.
Alaikum salam.
Awalshi, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to introduce ourselves in this very, very instructive webinar. I'm Dr. Fidda Jassas. Fadda bil Arabi. It's not cheese, it means silver, actually. Okay. Just to make it clear. I am from Algeria. I am a medical doctor, IBCLC, and I am working in Ajman University for the past 10 years. I am the office manager of the medical services. I'm so pleased to be between you today. Thank you.
Dr. Fidda, what were the challenges that you faced as a female medical student back in your day?
Challenges, I think that challenges as medical students are the same for all since long time. We are facing all the same struggles, the same stress, the same tension, lack of sleep, fear, ups and downs. But for me, the biggest challenge I had to face was clearing an entrance exam to get a medical license in UAE, because as you know, I am from Algeria. All my studies were in French. I always studied in French. And when I came to UAE, I had to face it because there is no French language here. So I had to sit my exam in English. So go and deal with it. It wasn't easy. It took from me too much energy. It took for me too much, But at the end, I believe that when there is a will, there is a way. And this is the thing I think all students should think about. Never ever give up your dreams or your expectations because of one obstacle in life. I went through that. I had to translate my medicine from French to English. I sat my exam, both exams actually, written and oral exam, which wasn't easy because you think French, but to pronounce it English, you need somebody behind to give you a push and then to pronounce it in a good way. But it went nicely. And alhamdulillah, after that, after the license, I got my license here. Then I set my IBCLC, which is an international board for lactation consultant in US, and I passed it successfully. Beside EMBA in healthcare management and leadership, all in English, means that we have to keep, when we want something, never give up because of some challenges you can just meet. You will always overcome them if you want to do that.
Exactly, as you said, when there's a will, there's a way.
Thank you.
That is pretty inspiring, Dr. Fadla. So, Dr. Fadla, we know that women account for 70% of the health and social care workers. And I, as a medical student, I can confirm, because even in the College of Medicine, most of us are girls, like the most percentage. So do you still think that females face discrimination in this field?
See, first of all, I'm so proud of you and so proud of any girl who is choosing the healthcare field, because it is a very big field, challenging field, which needs too much energy from you to stick there. So for that, yes, if we speak discrimination, yes, I think there is discrimination in the workplace when it comes to healthcare workers. I think not only healthcare workers, even other professions. Many will face, like Dr. Diana said it in the beginning, you will have always something missing for the comfort of the lady, or to assure the workplace facilities to give you enough time to produce, to help, to show your capacities. And it's not just related to the healthcare field. But even though I think as long as we sustainability, we need to think how to set sustainable strategies to improve the women life, the women work in the workplace, by just assuring the part-time work, by taking in considerations all the women's need according to their step in life. She is a mother, she is pregnant, and she has to care for babies, then she is facing. We should help the woman because she has full capacity. All ladies are very smart. We are able to run the world, and we are doing it, I think, right now. Just give us the chance and give us the opportunity, and we will all achieve it, inshallah.
Indeed, indeed, we are. It's just a work in progress, I think. Thank you, Dr. Fadla.
A question. If you could back in time to your life, what would you advise the younger version of you?
Yes, we learned a lot. When you look back, the first thing I will tell some, especially medical students, first of all, try to finish your studies at your young age. It's very difficult to study after that. Once you are cleared, you start your professional life, it's not easy to come back to your books, to study, to sit exams. So if you intend to pursue your studies, do it now, because you have enough energy, you have enough time, and the brain is fresh because you are not overwhelmed, okay? As a medical doctor, just remember that being a doctor is just your job. It's not your life. You have a life to live, okay? Don't carry your hospital or your clinic problems at home, because it will poison your life and you will miss a lot of things with your family, with your surrounding, with the social life. Give your time, live your time, and believe in yourself. I think that if you are really, you have this inner knowledge that you can do it, no one can ever turn you off. You will always go ahead and you will succeed in all what you decide to do.
You're right, Dr. Fadla. Thank you so much.
Most welcome to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fidda. That was truly inspiring.
Thank
Now,
you.
Dr. Anastasia Spaska, introduce yourself in 20 seconds. You are muted. We cannot hear you. Can you please?
Yes, here I am.
Yeah.
I must say I was always thrilled by these questions. This is the question you usually meet in your job interview, you know. And as I recently met one of my students, and she told me exactly the same story. Like, doctor, what can I do to make myself to answer the questions in this test faster and to think and perform faster? So what can you do? You only practice, but you can only like accept yourself as you are and think that how unique you are. Yeah. So speaking about myself, I'm Dr. Anastasia, and I'm currently working in College of Medicine, introducing the foundation year students to human biology. It's a beginning of their journey. Yeah, so it's very important to make them accept and make priorities correct, yeah, right on their step. I hold my PhD in anatomy, and basically I'm a biologist. So I know roughly about any field of biology. Yeah, that's my preference. But I have chosen the anatomy as the one which I want to learn deeper, yeah, about. That's why when I hear about environmental science, it also like gets deeply in my mind, because before I was interested in environmental sciences also. And by the way, my PhD thesis was very much into relation to influence of some environmental factors and some lifestyle factors on the reproduction system, yeah, and fertility. And this is the topic which rises to be more and more important in our days, as more and more people, they come to IVF, yeah, in vitro fertilization and repro clinics for health, because they want to have children and they cannot succeed after 1 year of marriage. Yeah, so this is probably can be also a result of some changes in environment, pollution, changes in our lifestyle, and that sort of things. Apart from my work, as we already heard from Dr. Feta, don't bring your work at home, yeah? So apart from the job, yeah, I'm like open-minded person. I like to have to explore, to travel, to know more about different cultures and that sort of things. And probably you would find me a nice companion. That's not 20 seconds, I'm sorry, but.
Thank you, Dr. So I have a question for you. Dr. touched up on this a bit about the family life and being a female medical doctor and so on. So do you think it's difficult to balance research and a teaching career with the family life at the same time?
I'm not a doctor. Yeah, I'm a scientist. Yeah, I'm a teacher, but I didn't have experience in medicine as a doctor. You know, doctor who works in the hospital. Yeah. But as a researcher, as a woman in science, and if you need a brief answer, I will say yes, it's difficult. it's difficult to combine your wish for constant development and learning about things with your family life. Yeah, that's true. Especially when you get kids. Yeah, it looks like you are doing the same as you did before. Yeah, you are studying, you are working, but apart from that, you have placed in your mind, and this becomes like the dominant center, yeah, which is like your kid and your family. Yeah. So it's difficult, but I cannot say that you can't cope. Of course you can. Of course you can, and your family brings you more inspiration, more ideas, sometimes more drive. Yeah, and you learn also about life. Like I know people like colleagues who wanted to do only research, so they decided not to have family. I have also friends who thought they cannot manage, yeah, with both, so they decided to be a housewife only. It's fine. It's fine to pursue any path. It's fine as long as you feel happy. Yeah. For myself, I know that I wouldn't be happy if I don't do both.
God bless you.
Well, doctor, is there such a thing like as a non-traditional jobs for women in science field and research? And how we can encourage undergraduate girls to get into research work?
Well, to this question, I think my answer will be no. There are no things which women cannot do and only men can do. There are things which can be difficult for women, or things where women don't get enough support. Yeah, so some professions where it traditionally was decided that this is the male. Yeah, I recently came across the article. It's a scientific article, by the way, with the analysis how much women publish in different cluster of science. Yeah, this is about STEM, math, physics, life sciences, medicine. And interestingly, that the most publication were in psychology, yeah? And the least publication were in math and technical sciences. So I really glad to meet today two women who do, yeah, who did it, who made it, yeah. I'm proud of knowing you. So I think it's more a kind of which will be overcome. This is the obstacle which we discuss now, but lately, after maybe 10 years, nobody would even think about this. Yeah?
Right, thank you.
What do you think are some of the obstacles that prevent women and girls from pursuing sciences and research?
I think this may be more like cultural differences in the obstacles. Yeah? So in every part of the world, we can meet and ask women what are their obstacles, and they will name different things, actually. Yeah. So there are no like common or permanent obstacles, but for all of them, the main obstacle can be in their mind. Yeah, like make believe that you shouldn't do this, or you should choose another way of life. Yeah, so only you can decide about yourself what's important for you, and just don't look at the others. Yeah? Make up your mind, and sometimes it's important to remember that many people will not take you serious unless you don't produce a result. But as long as you produce a little result, make a little influence, you will see how the people around you change and the environment will change. Yes, but to make this, produce this little result, you must make a step to make the decision and follow it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anastasia. Moving on to a very dear colleague of mine, Mrs. Al-Amiri. Can you please introduce yourself in 20 seconds? If you need a bit more, you can have 30 seconds.
Ahlan Maya. No, I'll try my best to do it 20 seconds. I've practiced it. Welcome, everyone. I'm a mom, a nurse by profession, a paramedic by training and certificates, an academic by career who teaches first aid as a university requirement. I'm a researcher with multiple reputable publications. I hold Masters in Emergency Health Services from UMBC, United States, and MBA from Strathclyde Business School, UK. Here you go.
In record time. Good job, Doctor.
You're welcome.
Ms. Ala,
yes.
You have recently achieved something wonderful.
Thank you.
And it is the Paul Dudley White International Scholar Award from the American Heart Association.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Can you tell us more about how your background in emergency preparedness and disaster management was crucial in landing this achievement?
Well, thank you very much for bringing this achievement to the table. This was a paper that was published and the abstract won an international award, as you said. The idea of this paper came to me during the lockdown. You know, remember the lockdown of COVID-19 from March to June,
yes.
Where everyone was forced in the houses. And from my understanding, from my background in emergency health services, I realized there must be a huge pressure on the call centers worldwide, the emergency call centers, we call them dispatch centers. So I wanted to study if there's a global pattern around the world, if there's a bottleneck effect. And unfortunately there was. Those with non-COVID related diseases like heart attacks, stroke were really affected because of the high pressure on the call centers from callers about COVID and elsewhere. In this paper, I tried to understand with my co-author, Dr. Brian McGuire from USA. We tried to understand, to analyze the factors contributing to these to this bottleneck effect, and we draw some conclusions for policymakers for the next pandemics or disasters, God forbid.
It's really amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Very much. You're welcome.
Congratulations again, Ms. Ala.
Thank you very much.
I have a question for you. So we all know that there's a significant gender gap that exists in both the medical and science fields. So do you think that this gap is going to ever disappear, and how?
Well, thank you. Very important question. Unfortunately, this gender gap is mainly due to a social structure and a stereotype that is on women. And to understand how this social structure is affecting us and these stereotypes on girls and women, there's statistics about papers published by women and compared to paper published by men. In general, the numbers of publications by women is less. It's not because of the productivity is lower. No, the productivity is the same. But unfortunately, because it sounds that women in science leave their career early. It's a shorter career time span for women. because of the social structure we are in. Women are the one who are eventually will be forced to stay home or to do less work and research because they take care of the kids. I know personally 2 PhD holders, my colleagues, who took 10 years pause in their lives until they did their PhD and their research because they want to uproot their kids to raise their kids. And so they stayed home or did less research or didn't do the PhD because of that. And the impact of this was hugely affected by COVID-19. You know, during the lockdown, there's an interesting also survey about the research done by women comparing to research done by women in the previous year, which is 2019. In 2020, the research published by women was hugely, significantly affected, was lower than the research published by women in 2019. And the reason is because during the lockdown, you know, all the schools around the world were locked down, and you know, kids were forced to study from home, online learning. And the moms, women in science, were the ones who stayed home and took care of the homeschooling, following up with their kids. So less research, less publication because of less time. So the question, if I got it right, will this gap be disappear? As long as we have this social structure, unfortunately, this gap will persist. So I think in order to bridge this gap, we need to work on 2 directions. First, we need to work at a family level, the upbringing of our children, that boys and girls have equal opportunities. And the other direction is to create and to focus on leading women who disrupt this social structure. I'm talking about leading women in science who disrupt this structure and prove with firsthand experience about their bravery and, you know, their great work in science. And this, by the way, this gapping, or let's say the bridging of the gap, must have collective political and social will. It's not just on individual or the society, it also have political aspect. There must be political will to bridge this gap.
Yes, it's multifactorial, and it's probably our duty as the future generation. Hopefully.
Yes, yeah, be the examples for the others.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Ala, I would like to ask, what are the popular myths on working a woman in a STEM position that you want to let us know about it, that will encourage girls to work in such careers?
Thank you for the question. You're talking about young girls and school generation, you mean? I don't think it's a matter of myths. I know there are myths, but I don't think it's the matter of myths. It's a matter of visibility of these female scientists. You know, the girls in the school nowadays are more into TikTok and trendy videos and, you know, these trendy social media. I think we have to make female scientists more visible to this generation in a more appealing, fun way. An interesting, cool way. There's a nice experience in the United States. I don't know if you heard of it, Ada Twist, Scientist. This is a cartoon program for kids. It's on Netflix. I watch it with my daughter, 6-year-old daughter. The idea of this cartoon is that this Ada, the girl, she's a grade 3 girl who has experiences with science in each episode. And at the end of the episode, there is a real interview with a real female scientist who's cool and talks in a cool way about her experience, about fun facts in her career. And I think this is a very brilliant idea to replicate in other parts of the world, to make these scientists visible to the girls in a more appealing way for this generation.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Ala.
You're welcome. Thanks for the interesting question.
Dr. Ala, how can women in science also contribute to sustainable development?
Yes, a very important question. Well, first of all, they need to be aware of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So be aware of them, pick a niche in your career, align your work, your research, your science, align it with these UN Sustainable Development Goals, and publish your work. unfortunately, according to statistics, 50% of clinical trials are unpublished, which makes it a huge waste of resources. It's because maybe the researcher is his hypothesis or her hypothesis was not proven or rejected, her null hypothesis was approved, so they think it's not worthy. Well, publication of the research will first of all, will give you visibility as a woman in science. And whether you realize it or not, it will add on and build on the knowledge of, or the body of knowledge that already exists, whether you know it or not. So align your work to the UN Sustainable Development Goals and publish your work.
Point on. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Moving on to our next brilliant woman, Dr. Hiba.
Yeah, thank you. Hi.
Hi. Describe yourself, please, in 20 or more seconds. Yes.
So my name is Hiba Ahmed. I studied bioorganic chemistry in UAE University. I got my PhD on the drug discovery field in 2018. I'm working in Ajman University as adjunct faculty member. I'm teaching chemistry, biochemistry, biology, geology, environmental science, all fields of sciences. And I won the Excellence in Teaching Award in 2019. At the same time, I'm working as a laboratory quality assurance consultant for Abu Dhabi Sewage Services Company in Al Ain. And before that, I was working as analyst in Abu Dhabi Food Control Authority when I was studying my research, my master's degree in environmental science and water resources. This is the
Thank you very much, Dr. Hiba.
Congrats on all your remarkable achievements, and we're all so proud to hear all of your accomplishments. I was also wondering whether you have a strategy on how we can all accumulatively reduce our carbon footprint to tackle climate change.
Yes, first of all, we need to know what is the carbon footprint. The carbon footprint is the total amount of greenhouse gas emission that comes from the production. So, which include carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, fluorinated gases, and also methane. These gases come from human production, as we said. So, so usually the bulk of individual carbon footprint will come from the transportation, housing, and of course, food. So I will focus on transportation and housing at the beginning. For housing, we need to know how much we spend shopping outdoor and how much we use energy indoor. And for transportation, we need to know approximately how many miles we travel by car, buses, trains, or plane. And of course, we need to know the composition of our diet. For outdoor, I will start also by shopping because we love shopping. We need to take reusable bags. We need to skip packaging. We need to avoid single-use items, and we have to try not to buy everything, just buy what we need. And for sure, stop around and taking quality items that last long time. For indoor, we need to look to lights, heat, and devices we are using. For lights, we need to turn down for heats, we need to turn down the water heater. We need to minimize using of iron. We need to set the fridge and the freezer on temperature that's suitable for them, not lower than the necessary. For the lights, we need to turn lights. We need to turn off lights on day, of course, and we need to replace the lights to LED because LED lights use up to 85% of energy, less energy actually. So, and we need to, for devices, we need to change the desktop by laptops because laptops use less energy to charge and run. We need to stream movies using smart TVs, not the game devices, because smart TVs are suitable for running movies, but the game device are not, so they will consume energy 10 times more. And of course, for the recycling, we should look for recycling paper, steel, tin cans, and try to repel. We have to try to repel the electronic device and donate the working electronic device. This is for housing inside and outside. Still, we have the transportation, which is the most important part, because most of emissions coming from transportation. This transportation, we should at least try to use buses and the trains instead of cars. But if we have to use cars, we should follow the device for the engine expert, like who said, drive like you have an egg under your foot, which means we have to go easy on the gas and brakes, and that will reduce the emission of gas. And also we have to lower tire pressure, because lowering tire pressure can reduce the emissions. Also, air conditioning can make emission creep up, so we need to turn it off as we can, and use the cruise control for longer drive, which also could reduce the gas emissions. And if we can walk, will be better, of course. I hope I'm not that fast.
No, absolutely. It was very informative, and I agree with you. I think we should smart shop nowadays, because since online shopping is on the rise, we've all witnessed one shopping package after another being shipped, and it just accumulates our carbon footprint. So if we could do a strategy to influence women to shop smartly, especially during discounts and all of those, I think that would majorly reduce our carbon footprint. So
but the
now
online
sorry,
the online shopping will be friendly, yes, environmentally friendly, but not wallet friendly. So I think we have to go shopping.
Exactly. I think now Nadia will carry on. Nadia?
Dr. Hiba, you've discussed in details how we can reduce carbon footprint in-house and in transportation. But what about foods? Is my food decision gonna affect my carbon footprint?
Yes, sure. Globally, emissions are linked to what we put on our plates, because when it comes to food, most greenhouse gases emission happen during production rather than transportation. What you eat is more important than where it comes from. But of course, if you eat local, that still make difference, because the transportation will be less. But what about production? Actually, food systems are complicated, and research is still evolving on what most environmentally friendly diets is. Experts said most agree that cutting down on meat, and particularly the red meat. Why? This is the better choice for our environment, because red meats consume more land, water, feed. That's resources we need for a human. So cutting the red meat will be more diet friendly or environmentally friendly. And cow, of course, generates more methane, which is one of the greenhouse gases and harmful gas to our environment. So in research in 2017, in Journal of Environmental Research Letter, they said red meat can have up to 10 times the environmental impact on a plant-based food. So according to some estimates, beef gives off more than 6 pounds of carbon dioxide per serving. So eating a vegetarian or vegan diet are also likely better for environment than a diet with including a lot of meats. So this is also wallet friendly.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Hiba. So we have to go vegetarian more than just consuming red meat, which is difficult.
It's not. Actually, they said if for meat lover, they can have meat like every week, once a week or twice a week, not every day. This is the
so lessen the portion. Yeah.
Yes, less portions. And good for health.
No, very interesting. Thank you. So basically, I think the area of the environment and so on is somehow neglected, especially with our generation. So do you have any advice for us as students to actively contribute to a greener environment?
No, actually, up to last week, I thought that's really neglectable by your generation, but actually it's not, because last week I gave my students an assignment to give an idea or suggestion how to make Ajman University greener. And I was surprised, by the way. I can read some of their suggestions for you. I have Moses Zahabi from Biomedical Engineering. She suggests that we can put a massive recycle boxes in corridor. That's to recycle paper and cans and plastic water bottle. Shahad from Biomedical Engineering, also Shahad Al-Ubaidi, she said, she put many points. She said, stop using disposable items, hold off the heating and air condition, and recycle. And I have also Talal Dahir, Dahir from also Engineering College. He suggests to use solar energy on campus. Abdullah from dentistry, he thought business. So he asked Ajman University to put fines for people who throwing waste on campus, on land, on water, and hiring volunteer for awareness. And Shahad from electrical engineering asked to provide Sky River machines on campus, and she said the benefits of that. I also have Ayat from dentistry. She suggests to stop using disposable material in dentistry college and using towels that can be washed and sanitized instead of napkins. Fahad from civil engineering suggests three suggestions. Actually, he said first we have to reduce transportation. Then he said we can consume less by buying less, like having less stuff at home. And he asked to stop cutting down the tree, and we as individual can contribute by having used furniture and flooring made up by wood. So these are some of my students' suggestions, and they will show up inshallah in webinar within 2 weeks with the Environment Office, and they will inshallah talk on details on their suggestion. My suggestion was for them, please join or participate on some activities on environmental organization in UAE. Starting by this environmental office in Ajman University, and I give them like 8 organizations here. We have environments, we have Emirates Environment Group, we have Emirates Nature, we have Emirates Marine Environment, we have Emirates Agency in Abu Dhabi, we have Emirates Wild Safety, and we have Emirates Green Building, and the last one, Bees Transfer Station. These are waste management organization, and it's very active in Dubai. So they can join, and they can have, even join or even participate on one of their events. That will be benefits for them as individual and for their career.
Oh, wow, I was completely mistaken then. They have the ideas are innovative and
thank you, Isra. You can join my class, by the way. You are most welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hiba. It is really interesting to hear all these bright ideas by our own students. And as you said, we are preparing for a webinar that will feature all these ideas by students on how to combat climate change and be part of climate action. Yes. Moving on to our dear Dr. Nisha Kumari. Hi, Dr. Nisha.
Hi, Maya. Hi.
Dr. Nisha, can you please describe yourself in 20 seconds or slightly more?
I promise it's going to be short.
Okay.
So, hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Nisha Shantakumari. I graduated in medicine from India, and after that, I've specialized in medical physiology. So, obviously, I pursue a career in academic medicine, and most of my time goes into teaching the fellow doctors tomorrow and conducting research in biomedical sciences. Yeah, and I'm currently a faculty member in the College of Medicine at Ajman University. And I'm really happy to be with all of you here today. Great panel, great time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nisha.
All right, Dr. Nisha, could you ever imagine your life without science and research? And what would be your alternative if it's without research?
Okay, see, there's so many cliche answers, one could give for that. What I would say is why I took up science. I took up science because I was good at it. I had good teachers. And more importantly, I had this pure love for biology that kind of, cemented my desire very early in life to become a doctor. That's how it all started. So I love biology and I thought I want to become a doctor. And it started and voila, here I am, you see. And I'm really glad about it, because being a scientist means, being able to follow my curiosity. And I work every day on what I'm passionate about. So I'm passionate about something, I get to work on what I'm passionate about. That's a great thing. And it's also that science is so wonderful that it kind of inspires me. And I learn everything, every new thing, every day. There's a lot of things to learn about it, right? Every new day is a learning. And there's so much to still wonder about because whatever you learn is not enough, right? So frankly, I breathe science, I live science, I sustain on science, and I can't imagine doing anything else in my life.
So there is no alternative for you?
No, absolutely a big no.
All right.
Yes, Dr. Nisha, you truly are good at what you do. And yes, Dr. Nisha has been my professor for the past 4 years. And she's a professor I truly respect. And I look up to you in my work ethic. So, Doctor, a question for you. What are your views on the representation of women in the medical workforce?
Okay. So, I'm very, very proud when I say that compared to all the other STEM branches, it's in medicine that we have the highest female representation. As we discussed earlier, around 70 to 80% of the medical health force is made up of women. Okay, but there's a bit of unfortunate side to that because less than 20% are in the leadership positions. So, and about less than a third are doctors. So when we look at women in medical workforce, they're basically occupying the low-paying strata, of workforce, like maybe nurses or healthcare workers. But nevertheless, whatever their role is in the healthcare workforce, I believe that women play a very crucial role in medicine. This is simply because for medicine to truly serve the society, it needs to be inclusive, okay, and should reflect the diversity of the society it serves. And you see, when compared to the other STEM fields, there's a lot of human-to-human interaction, right? If you look at other engineering or mathematics, it's more of machine, and it's inanimate objects usually, right? But when you come to doctors, it's more of human interaction. So it's very important to have a comfort zone with the person you're interacting. And so I believe that because women represent a big population, right? There's equal amount of female as well as male. And in some areas, especially in fields like gynecology, obviously it's only females. So the females would be more comfortable approaching a female healthcare worker in that regard. So the role females have to play in medicine, I would say, is much more important than any other STEM fields, not putting that anywhere down, but still, you see, you get what I'm trying to say, because medicine is more of human interaction, right? So if you ensure that there's a diverse healthcare force, then you ensure that whatever services or treatments you provide to the diverse population is more successful. So women really, are doing a good job there out in medicine.
Definitely. And this is what Dr. Nisha and all the other doctors, even in medicine, that's what they portray, and that's what that's the message they're trying to hear among students for inclusiveness, gender equality, and so on. Thank you.
Dr. Nisha, would you like to share a few words of wisdom to the future generation of women in STEM?
Yeah, I think right from speaker number one, we have been all sharing wisdom. I would add to it, yeah, definitely. What I would like to say to all the young women scientists out there is, just take initiative, be persistent, and never stop seeking answers. If you don't understand something, just ask. If you think it still doesn't make sense, ask again. Don't sit back and relax and wait for someone to tell you what you should be doing. Just pull up your socks and get going. Okay, try to find answers to the questions you're faced with. And in science, it often happens that sometimes people don't believe in you anymore when you're coming up with failures, or when you have this self, because you don't achieve as you expect you would. That's the time you need to be brave, and you should just go for it, because you'll be surprised that when you put aside those fears, how much you could accomplish is much greater than when you actually don't be brave enough to take the steps. And the third important thing to remember is that, scientific progress is always based on failures. No experiment gives you results in the first go. You keep trying, failure, right? But that's how you progress. And every time you fail, you basically learn newer technique and improve ways of solving the problem and moving forward, right? And frankly, failures have taught me two important life lessons, that is persistence and resilience, which is very, very important in a scientific career. Okay, all said and done, let me just put all of this together and conclude in saying that a career in science is definitely exciting, but it is not always an easy one, as you obviously know, right?
Yeah.
And you often feel like, you are a spider being pulled by its legs in different directions, okay? But trust me, almost always, somehow, by some magic, a beautiful web is always made. So just go for it, and this web, just make the web. That's all I would say. That's all. Get on board with it.
Thank you so much. This would definitely inspire high school students to pursue their studies in science at Ajman University.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nisha. Moving on to Dr. Maria. Hi, Dr. Maria.
Hello, Maya. Thank you.
Pleased to have you with us. Say,
great.
Last but not least, definitely. Dr. Maria, can you just introduce yourself in 20 seconds?
Thank you so much. Esteemed ladies or women in science, good afternoon. So I am just an ordinary woman hailed from one of the 7,100 islands from Philippines, educated both in Philippines and United Kingdom, with a specialization in management. So my first is about total quality management on women, and the second is about human resource management. So I hope I'll be able to make a difference in the lives of girls and ladies, especially on women in science. Thank you.
Definitely, Dr. Maria. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Maria. So, Dr. Maria, I read that you have attended the United Nations Leadership Summit in the UN headquarters in New York, USA in 2004. And I believe that it's your passion to serve humanity that made you do this. So can you tell us more about this event?
Okay, thank you so much, Isra. So Junior Chamber International, of course, a group of young people from 18 to 40 years old, or they call that the common name JCs, with 200,000 members all over the world and about 6,000 communities. I was so lucky that I was one of the delegates, and actually the only delegate from my country, with more than 100 delegates from 51 countries at the time. So we're able to have the roundtable discussion and a United Nations Assembly, and then discussing the United Nations Millennium Development Goals, tackling about education, poverty, women, right, sustainable development. We're in that when we be back to our respective communities, we will do projects and to make a difference to the people that we live in, or we are, of course, in our different territories. Actually, it's a global thing. So across different continents at a time. And I believe we made a difference after 18 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Maria. That's truly a contribution. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Hi, Dr. Maria.
Hi, Karen. Great to see you.
Great to see you too. It's so good to see you. Dr. Maria is my advisor my academic
Thank you.
advisor, and I'd like to congratulate you. I know it's a bit late, but it's the first time I know about your contribution in the UN. So congrats on that. I'm very happy to hear about it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and moving on to another topic that is also of your interest, environmental sustainability. You've published a paper that's titled Sustainable Initiatives on Environmental Issues, a Case of UAE. So would you like to share with us why this topic is important to you?
Yeah, of course, as a social scientist, I think it's not the highest category of journals, but I believe that whatever your study, you make a difference in the community that you live in. I mean, out of the outcome of your study, you'll be able to get to have a contribution to the community. So together with my collaborators from American University of Sharjah, we had a study regarding about these sustainable initiatives on environmental issues, because as we grow in terms of population, there's a pollution, of course, increasing pollution challenges. So especially that it will affect women and children. And so we discovered that as the population grows, we will be able to purchase, of course, automobiles, cars, and then that will contribute to the quality of air we breathe. And then we are so thankful that out of that initiative by the government regarding, of course, calling for the green, green environment, as well as, of course, with the initiative of Masdar and BIA, somehow they will be able to neutralize, but we hope that we will be having make a difference in the next level of our study. Actually, I collaborate with different men and women across the globe, especially for this renewable energy that will be able to adapt probably in our respective communities. And somehow we'll be able to contribute.
All the best. Yeah. All the best on that initiative. And I'm so happy to say that this initiative is starting from AU and creating a change, a very important change to the UAE in terms of environment and sustainability. So we hope to see the results soon, and truly all the best to you and your team.
Yeah, thank you so much, Karen.
Dr. Maria, as the most outstanding educator of the year 2020, what's your advice for the younger girl to follow your footsteps?
Yeah, they said that it takes only guts, determination, and perseverance. So if you're a woman, somehow you thought that you cannot make things happen, but it's only in the state of the mind. You need, that's why we are here in the academy. We are here in a university in order to enhance our capabilities. Once we have the capabilities, then we have the level of confidence to go out to the world and to make a difference. And you need to have a determination to go on. There are challenges along the way. You thought that failure will overtake you, but if your determination is strong enough, you will be able to raise, right? To reach the greater heights. And of course, growing up is a painful process, especially during this pandemic. I know our mental health, especially for young people, young ladies, young girls are affected, but everything is just temporary. Sustain, dream. If your dream will not come true, dream again until your dream will come true. Because in life, you are like a diamond. A perfect diamond will be chiseled every moment. So the more you will be chiseled, then you will become a perfect diamond in the long run. So I hope I address your concern.
Thank you, Dr. Maria, for your kind and motivated work. Thank you so much. So nice.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. It was really an interesting discussion. We will move now to your own questions. Karen, the floor is yours.
Well, I would like to primarily ask all our attendees, well, if they could share their views on whether they think, whether they are student or alumni or staff or faculty, whether they think that whether they think that truly changes are happening in terms of the workplace to give more of a voice to women, whether it is in STEM or in other fields as well, and how they contribute to enabling women more in all the fields and in all the industries. So guys, if you could answer that in the chat room, or just switch on your mic.
Hi, I hope all are good.
Yeah, hi Aisha.
Hi, it was very inspirational, first of all, but I would say that not just talking about like in work environment, yes, we are representing women sort of day to day, but then when we do talk about, in work environment, we should, regardless of your gender, regardless of who you are, should be more included into what we are objectifying as a value and going ahead and making difference for better, since it is very adverse time. So yes, I do appreciate that it's a Women's Day today, but then when you're at your workplace, in your professionalism, there's a precise line between professionalism and then your personal life. And when you go out, as ever you present, whether you are Indian, whether you are Turkish, whether you're Georgian, whether you're American, whatever, that should be seen as we say as a metaverse, right? Like, I don't know who you are. Like now, as in virtually, you don't know who I am, but what it matters is that what you're objectifying, what is your value? What are you trying to present? This is the quality matters more than anything. So somewhere along the line, this is what matters. Maybe probably tomorrow we can make some difference, And any tool, whatever resources you've got, maybe LinkedIn, white collar FB, maybe Facebook, maybe Instagram, any tool can be useful as far as you are sending across the right message at the right time, knowing the trends, right? Thank you so much.
I do stand with you in terms of enabling everyone and giving them the opportunity to present themselves and their initiatives. However, when it comes to reality, discriminations do exist.
Yes,
and so it's more of, like you've already suggested, well, perhaps we could be more outspoken about this topic. And as feminists, all genders are included. We're supposed to promote equality more often. But when it comes to the field and to the real life and the career world, it's usually quite the contrary. And even to women in STEM, it's even more difficult because generally women are seen as incompetent or weak or perhaps even minor in comparison to others. So we just have to constantly prove ourselves, as the other speakers said. So, well, perhaps if we could all brainstorm ways to perhaps.
I thank you so much. It is absolutely true. But I feel this problem has always been a part of our history, of our present, and probably maybe in our future. But why are we so educated today? Why are we seeing a lot of nobelists, as for example, Margaret Thatcher, she was the president of UK at that time. So, a lot of differences in the past, in our history, in the future, everywhere it has made. We are all, changes depends from one, from one you can start and it becomes a chain. So I think improvising discrimination is everywhere. Even though you say as a slogan that we do not do discrimination, is everywhere. But then you make a difference for a better. I feel it's a very beautiful session today, and I guess we have learned a lot. And somewhere across the line, I guess we need improvement. More improvement day by day.
Definitely. What are some of the initiatives that you try to implement at your workplace to empower everyone?
Well, the improvement that we look at is more, for instance, when I was working for digital devices, or probably the research assistant that I was, we never questioned more. We never questioned. Try not to question too much. Try to always look into the day routine priorities. Set your priorities, then look into what is important for the day, and do not rift off away from your chores, the chores that you do, and do not unnecessarily ask questions for each other and create a disturbance environment. Try to make a good harmonious environment. And I think this is what we should be looking at. And I think automatically everything will try to fall into place if we make slight bits of efforts every single day. You don't have to be perfect, I'm not saying that, but then slight effort can make days better for all of us. And we shouldn't be talking about this, or the session should not be made if there would not be any discrimination.
Yeah, but it still doesn't mean that we shouldn't put an effort to eventually and hopefully eradicate such mentality.
Yes, maybe, probably we can. And I think we have done a massive good job, and we have done it. So we are doing, a lot of people have done it, and a lot of people have got recognition to females and males at the same time. And I think, a slight effort here and there will not matter a lot. Just improvise for good. Hopefully, yes. And we have made a very better place.
Thank you so much for joining us, Aisha.
Thank you for having me. And it was a great honor to listen to Dr. Fita, Dr. Diana, Dr. Maria, Dr. Anastasia, and Dr. Ala, Dr. Nisha, and Miss Isra, and Miss Karen, all of you today. Thank you so much.
The pleasure is ours.
Maya Haddad, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think also someone mentioned something in the chat room about makeup. Let me scroll up.
Yes, Dr. Fahar asked about the carbon footprint on makeup. Yes, actually, makeup has chemicals and having carbon footprint. And even nowadays, we have fashion to produce a green makeup. And this green makeup still having less carbon footprint, but still having packaging and transportation. So still having carbon footprint. So Dr. Fahar asked me what I advise women, and I said for him, I advise women to stop wearing makeup. No need for makeup. We are already gorgeous. Alhamdulillah. No need.
Well,
and
I think we could also get inspired by ancient Egyptians. They used to opt for more organic options. So perhaps
but even organic options having a lot of lead. So no. So even that. So just stop. That's it. It will be also wallet friendly. You see?
Yeah, we're very economic people.
Yeah.
We're very happy to answer more questions. Everyone's welcome to share their questions on the chat room.
Karen, I'd like to answer your input, your interesting question.
Yeah.
Ms. Aisha also added great insights about this. I like to always put things in context. It's not always you can generalize the experience of bad work environment or generalize the experience of Margaret Thatcher. It's different from place to place. I mentioned before that women in STEM and science, they have relatively shorter life or shorter career life because they dropped their job. One of the reasons was always, of course, the family obligations, but also because of work environment, and it's documented. So those who shined and continued with their career and had the Nobel Prizes, although the Nobel Prize is not something you rely on because it's only a few women who won Nobel Prizes across the history. Those who won Nobel Prizes, I believe it's because of their work environment. It was supportive. Men around them and people around them were very supportive to them. So they were climbing the ladder comfortably more. Also supportive husband, supportive environment in general, whether it's at home environment or at work environment. There's another example or another category of women who are a fighter. They fought their life or they fought their path until they reached. Those who don't want to fight or their work environment was harsh on them, it's not supportive, they choose to quit their job or to quit their career in general. So it's not something you generalize, it's according to the context you're talking about. There are work environments that are excellent, and that's why my advice to always be aware of the work environment you are about to go. If you hear that it's toxic for especially women and especially young ladies, it's better to avoid it and quit your job early to move on to a better environment. Don't stuck to a place that is toxic.
Definitely, yes. Well, we also have room.
Change it. No need to just run away.
Yeah, especially
if you can.
Right?
If you can.
Try.
Especially after COVID.
Very easy to say. Very easy to say.
Yeah, especially after COVID, like the amount of people that have pursued career change is significant. Everyone had a complete change in mentality, and I feel like a lot of women now, they're more aware of their options, and as the media is even more outspoken about toxic culture and toxic environments, we're also reconsidering what suits us, not just in terms of career options, but also in terms of mental health and work-life balance and so on and so forth. One question that I would like to dedicate to everyone here. Usually, some parents, especially for high school students, they might encourage their young female daughters to pursue a particular field in sciences, for instance, be a doctor or be a dentist. And there is no room for other options. So how would you encourage these parents, or how would you encourage these young female students to perhaps take a decision in terms of this field and pursue what they love in the field of STEM?
I think to be a role model yourself and show them by example that you don't force your daughter to be a doctor or an engineer or something. To lead by example.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to thank you, Karen, for this Q&A session. I really have to end this webinar because we are over our allotted time. I would like to thank each and every one of you who attended, who participated, who helped in organizing. Dr. Diana Francis, I would like to really thank you from the bottom of my heart for accepting the invitation to join us. So do you have any word to say before we end this webinar?
Thank you so much, Maya. Thank you also for organizing all this related matters to the webinar and the webinar itself. My final word would be really to encourage every girl and woman to think deep inside themselves, what they want to be in 10 years or in 15 years, and try to imagine themselves in this period of time. And if they feel happy about it, about what they will figure out, then they have to pursue, in case they are hesitating between different roads or different choices. Thank you very much, everyone. Sorry, I have to leave. We keep in touch, and really thank you for this webinar. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Diana.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Does anyone else from our dear panelists have a parting word of advice before we end?
I have.
Panelists. Sorry, Aisha, because we don't have time. We're running out of time.
Just thank you, Maya, and thank you everyone for this very, very interesting webinar. And hopefully we'll meet again, inshallah, for more topics, which will be interesting, not only ladies, but also the boys, okay?
Definitely, definitely. Thank you very much, Dr. Fadda.
Thank you very much, everyone. And thanks, Maya, again for the lovely invitation.
Thank you for joining us, Ala, and it's always a pleasure to do webinars with you.
Thank you very much. Same here.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Maya, for your
Thank you, Dr. Hiba.
Thank
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thank you so much.
You would be receiving one email with a short survey. Please make sure to fill the survey, and after that you would be receiving a certificate of attendance. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much.
You too. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.